Hi everybody, today let's look at how you can manage a much bigger, stronger person from the bottom of the half guard. And something that big, strong people will like to do is put a lot of pressure, and one of the ways that they'll do this is with an attempted guillotine from the top. And your partner doesn't have to be bigger or stronger for them to do this, but if a much bigger or stronger partner throws the guillotine on, then life can become a lot more difficult. When you're at the bottom of the half guard, ideally, what you're thinking about in terms of your position with anybody is monitoring your partner's cross-face arm. Because whether your partner is your size or they're smaller or they're bigger, they're usually looking from the half guard for two things. They're looking for an underhook with their top arm where they can control your shoulder, and they're looking for a cross-face with their near arm so that they can put your shoulders down flat on the floor, and then they can use this shoulder to start to turn your chin. And you have to remember that with someone who's your size or smaller than you, this is annoying, and if they're very technical, it can make life really hard. But if someone is a lot bigger than you, then it becomes much more urgent that you address and pay attention to both of these things. So for that reason, before we get into the guillotine, if your partner is looking to dig an underhook on this side, you always want to be looking to take your own underhook from the bottom of the half guard position. You never want to simply give up the underhook on the far side and then start to work and try to either escape back to the guard or look to sweep unless you have a real reason for doing that. This pressure underneath to flatten you out takes away a lot of your fundamental escapes. It makes it much harder for you to move your hips out. In order to be able to do that, you need to have your top shoulder up off the floor, and you can see if we rotate a little bit, when he gets the underhook here and keeps my shoulder on the floor, my ability to move my top shoulder off the mat and start to hip out becomes really restricted. If, on the other hand, I have the underhook or I have a frame in place, this shoulder can be off the floor, and then we can move our hip out and start to replace the guard. So that's the first thing, this underhook. The second is, rotate back this way, please. The second thing is this cross-face arm, where our partner's inside arm here, if they're wrapping our head and starting to flatten us out, this makes life very, very hard for us also. So a much bigger, stronger person, this grip alone, often across your jaw, can render you flat on the floor and give you more problems when it comes to escaping. So we're going to take an inside position, inside grip here with our hand. Okay, now this is not the strongest grip, but it is often enough for you to be able to mount some sort of defense or an offense from the bottom. So we want to monitor this arm, and we want to monitor our partner's second arm. So as you're working here, a nice strategy for your partner, and again, it happens a lot with bigger, stronger people, is they sit up, and when they create this space, they fire a guillotine up over the top with the idea of controlling your head and looking to stop you from being able to defend this arm. And then the underhook arm now doesn't become as effective. Okay, often from here, your partner will then dig the underhook on the far side. Now you're really in trouble. So what do we do when we find ourselves in this pretty bad position? Just rotate for me, please, here. So your partner has a guillotine grip wrapped, and they have an underhook on the far side. So we're going to address this grip here because we don't want to get strangled. So if you can put your hand on the inside, then great, and defend the wrist. It doesn't have to be a grip where you're doing a lot of pulling. You just want to take your hand around your partner's wrist. So even as he goes to wrap, we're just going to secure this grip here with our inside arm. Then our outside arm, because we've lost the battle for the underhook, we're simply going to drop our arm down so that our elbow goes down by our partner's elbow. Now we're going to take our 2 feet, plant them on the floor. We're going to turn our knees to the sky, and we're going to use this position to off-balance our partner and set them out towards their free side. Because that arm is trapped by our arm, now from here we can simply continue up to the top position, planting our head on the floor, using our hand to strip our partner's wrist off, take our own cross face, and now we're away on the top. Okay, from the opposite angle here, you're always monitoring your partner's arms, but you have a bigger, stronger partner, you're either not able to monitor their arms well, or they sit back here, and as you're going to do the blocking, your partner reaches up over the top, they take their overhook, and they take their underhook. We're going to trap our partner. If this arm can't reach your partner's wrist, you're simply going to place your hands on your partner's hip here. The other arm is going to close elbow to elbow. You're going to take your feet, plant them on the floor. You're going to turn your knees to the sky, and you're going to turn. You'd be surprised how effective it is. You have your partner's leg on this side blocked and your partner's elbow on that side blocked. Now you can ride up to the top position, and you're good to go to start to escape and you move your way out of that that troublesome grip. So whether your partner is bigger or stronger, or your partner is much smaller than you, or you're your own size, using this knee lever to be able to take your partner over and manage the guillotine, bottom of half guard, very nice strategy. Hopefully this was helpful for you and you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon.